If you've made a mistake, it's okay. We all do it. The person you made the mistake towards also has made mistakes. I make mistakes probably at least once a day. But how do we get through it? Well, we can intentionally write a good apology that explains and keeps that relationship strong. All right, but we've got 3 goals when we do that. So number 1, we want to get through the mistake, find a solution, get to the other side of the situation. Right. Secondly, we want to preserve the relationship between ourselves and whoever we need to either say sorry to for our mistake or just explain our mistake to. We want to keep that relationship strong. And I'll tell you the truth, I've been in situations where the relationship gets stronger after the mistake and all the discussions it led to. So keep hope, right? We can get through this. And then the third goal is to preserve your own self-respect. So even as we say, hey, I messed up, we are not going to self-bash. All right, so let's get into our strategies, an outline, and a couple examples, and we'll be all set. All right, so some general do's and don'ts if you've made a mistake and you're getting ready to talk about it or probably to write about it, right? Some things you do want to do, admit it, right? We want to make sure we're being honest. We may want to say why the mistake occurred. You're going to want to use your judgment on this because we don't want our apology or explanation to be too long and take up the reader's time, but we do want to say why if we think that that will help. On the other hand, sometimes when we say why, it can almost sound like we're making an excuse. So use your judgment about whether to include that part when you talk about your mistake. Show how the mistake mattered. Make it clear you know that this had consequences and effects, and you're aware of that. Have a plan to fix it. Share that plan right away. The goal here, again, number 1 goal is to move forward, right? Get through this and on to the next thing. And then lastly, always use a positive tone about yourself, about others, about the project. Which will relate to some don'ts here, which the first one there is don't self-bash. Don't go overboard about how much you messed up. We all mess up. So you want to say, oh yeah, I did this, but in an objective way, a neutral way, not that you're so horrible. And so the don'ts here are really a matter of balance. You don't want to self-bash, but you also don't want to other blame. You know how some apologies sound like, well, I'm sorry you felt hurt? That's actually putting that blame off onto someone else, right? So we have to balance. We don't want to talk about ourselves real badly, but we don't want to accidentally let the blame go to others either. And then the other area we want to balance is we don't want to dwell on the problem too long, but we also don't want to dismiss it as not important. And so usually we can say what the problem was, 1 sentence, make sure we address it and we show that we care, and then we can move forward. Okay, so with these strategies, all we've got to do is create an outline, and then we can start looking at some examples. So I made a mistake the other day. It was about curriculum, and I had to explain myself. So I used this outline, my main point, oh my gosh, I said we didn't need these printed, but we actually do, hoping it's not too late. The honesty, I was the one who kind of should have said to print them. So with honesty, we're acknowledging our mistake, we're taking responsibility. Third thing though, what about the empathy? What about, hey, I know how this affected you. I know this might cause an inconvenience or extra work. So show that you understand how they're affected. And then lastly, what's our 1 sentence for where we're going from here? What are we going to do next time? Focus on the future, share new ideas, let your reader know I am on top of this for the future. So here's an example that follows those 4 steps. I'm sorry about earlier. When I forgot the data we needed for the meeting, I affected the team's ability to move forward. I know this may impact our deadline and even your relationship with the client. In the future, I'll make sure to gather the information we need the week before the meeting. On the other hand, let's look at what might not be the best example. So 2 excerpts from apologies or explanations that I don't think would work as well. I wasn't prepared for yesterday's meeting and didn't bring the data I was assigned to. So far, so good. That's a good main point, and even saying what happened. But then I'd had a hard time gathering data, while my supervisor was busy with other projects. Almost sounds like we're saying, well, it's not my fault, my supervisor was too busy to help me. And the person you're talking to might think, well, why didn't you find another way, right? When it's our responsibility even though it can be difficult. So I think that is a case where sharing the reason would sound more like an excuse and maybe get into the other blaming other people, that is. The second example, I know you wanted the new client file, but I couldn't find it in time. Again, we've admitted it. I wasn't being lazy. I just had too much on my to-do list. That second sentence, I think, has a couple risks going on. I wasn't being lazy. It sounds either a little defensive or maybe like going overboard about insulting ourselves as if we're lazy. But really, then it leads to another excuse. I had too much on my list. Well, sounds like maybe that person should have managed their time more, right? So we don't want to include that in there because it might sound like an excuse more than a reason. So let's break that up a little bit. Okay, so we have some strategies, we have some do's and don'ts, we have some examples. Let's see what it would be like to create an apology kind of from scratch, looking at this 4-part outline. Now, quick reminder, not all of these 4 have to always be a separate sentence. You might cover a couple of these in one sentence, like sort of, I regret not being more prepared when I spoke at the board meeting last night. That kind of covers number 1 and 2. But in this example, we'll do all 4. Okay, so I've got to make a main point. What did I do? Looking back on our conversation earlier, I apologize if it seemed like it wasn't listening. Maybe I'm realizing later, oh gosh, I hope that person didn't think I didn't care about them or was ignoring them. Number 2, I am sharing a slight reason and I'm acknowledging what I was doing. We'd had a tough morning at home, so I was still distracted and not attentive enough. I think it's okay to share that reason because I don't feel like I'm totally blaming it for the fact that I'm distracted, which I'm still admitting. Number 3, empathy. I hope this didn't make it seem like I wasn't interested because I am. I chose to put a smiley face. You'll want to decide based on your reader whether an emoji is appropriate, but I wanted to make it clear I mean it that I'm interested. I'm not just saying that. And then lastly, I'm going to start taking a moment in the car when I arrive to kind of gather my thoughts and get present before I come in. I've already solved it. Tomorrow will be a different day. All right, so try these out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Feel free to ask a question. I'll get right back to you. Have a great day.